I'll just say a couple of words to introduce our speakers. I look forward really then to their very interesting contributions and a fantastic interactive debate. But just to remind everyone really that, in 2009, the G20 leaders in response to the global financial crisis agreed on a number of principles, of course, to govern the OTC derivative market, the achieve central clearing and, where appropriate, exchange or electronic trading of standardized OTC derivatives, mandate reporting of all transactions to trade repositories, and implement high capital and margin requirements for non-centrally cleared transactions. And I think we can recognize that in the past 10 years after the outbreak of the financial crisis, the global proliferation of trading platforms, product innovation, wider customer and market access, and the ability of technology to cross national boundaries have all posed major regulatory challenges for financial service regulatory authorities. So unfortunately, and despite the commendable efforts of IOSCO, the FSB and Basel Committee and so on, to develop high-level common standards and principles, regulatory authorities and their rules continue to be geographically based and governed by different national laws. So while financial markets are inherently global in nature, regulation in many regions is still based on the 19th century nation state. For example, banks and other financial market players in Asia are hit by the long arm of Dodd-Frank and MiFID II and EMIR. Compliance costs throughout the region have skyrocketed, with rules meant to protect American and European customers. The result is a complex and costly meld of regulatory duplication, conflict that rather sits uneasily with the increasing global nature of financial markets and services. And it undermines the intended benefits of harmonization and generates unnecessary business costs for both the providers and corporates as well as non-financial consumers. The European Commission's proposal on the review of the European supervisory authorities and Brian Hayes' draft report on the relationship between the EU and third countries concerning financial services regulation and supervision, as well as EMIR 2.2, the implementation of Basel III, the EU's investment firm review, and so on, come at a propitious moment in light of shifting and in some cases deteriorating international diplomacy and cooperation, as well as a changing financial services landscape. It is a key moment to reassess the openness of not only the European financial market and our approach to achieving regulatory coherence. Today, of course, is also a conspicuous moment as the joint EU-US Financial Regulatory Forum, the forum really, takes place. Well, convergence may prove to be more difficult to achieve because of both Brexit and ongoing revisions of reforms in Europe, perhaps as well as revisions in the US and the fallout effects in Asia. And I look forward to hearing from our panelists and their expert views and assessment. So let's hear first from Brian Hayes, member of the European Parliament, and followed by Amaury Ruben de Sevin, who's head of unit, of course, for macroprudential policy and relations with the ESRB at DG FISM of the European Commission. Following Amaury, we'll hear from Tracy Wingate, Associate Director of the Office of International Affairs at the CFTC of the United States, who has flown in from Washington. Thank you very much for joining us here today. We're really honored. Jonathan Jackham, head of the North American Regulatory Strategy and Government Relations at the London Stock Exchange Group, also flown in from Washington, D.C., and Simon Paulston-Jones, head of Europe at the FIA. Without further ado, Brian, please.